It's Wednesday. I just finished a film history exam, so I'm a little bit tired. But I thought I'd do an update. All the same. So the exam was on film history, so that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Not the history of film, but just films in general, and my relation to them. And I'm going to talk about this because I'm a narcissistic bastard, and this is my podcast. Also, I'll talk about me. I'm a horrible person. Anyway, so I've done a little bit of work in the film genre. My one true love is always, page fiction, short stories, novels, that kind of stuff. But there are some things that fall short of. You just can't do some things with page fiction, and it depresses me horribly, but that's kind of the reality of it. Most of the time when I want to do screenwriting is because I'm looking forward to having some stuff realized that can't come across in the writing. Like music is one thing. Like when I write, I always write to music. Sometimes I'll do stories based off songs, but beyond that, like every scene, usually I'm listening to some sort of ambient thing or song that inspires me to do the writing that I play along with it, like while I'm writing, because in my head it plays out like a movie in my head. I'm not imagining words in my head so much as I am imagining like actual scenes and lighting and cinematic stuff. That's just how it plays out, and I have to convert that from mental images into words, and you can't capture some things like music. Some emotion is also a big thing. There's a debate there, really, because there are some things you can do with writing that you can't do with film. It allows way greater insight into like the head of a character than most film can, or at least takes advantage of. There are a lot of movies that go pretty deep in there, but you can get way in the head of a character and be that character if it's like first person. The other thing is emotion. There's some emotions you just can't do on the page, and it depresses me. The little things, little facial quirks that really define someone. Or pauses. Pauses are a big thing because if there's an emotional, tense moment, you can't do a pause on the page like you can in cinema. You can't do like this slow like this tracking thing, really lame shit. But some of the stuff is used to really good effect. A dramatic pause is a really useful tool. And if you're writing a short story or book, you can't do a pause. You can do like a paragraph break or chapter break, but that's not really that much of a pause. It's kind of a cheap way to do it. Or you can start describing something else, like, oh, the lamp has a yellow light and it's casting over his face, and the blinds are creating war paint on his extremely tired, unshaven face. And then you can go back and say what he was thinking, or something he says or does, and that'll kind of create the illusion of a pause, but you'll never get the same moment. So that's why I like film, TV, video games to an extent. Is just because you can see things realized, and emotions. There's emotions there that you can never capture in words, and I don't have any trouble admitting that, and I don't think anybody would really contest that, as long as you acknowledge that there are things that you can do with writing that film can't do. And I was involved with the production last year. I wrote a screenplay called Lucid, which was about it's a good one. It was about dream therapy. It was lucid dreaming. So this character goes to the Morpheus Institute because he's having sleep troubles, whatever. And they've created this dream therapy that allows you to and it's a machine that allows you to enter your dreams and wake up in the dreams and control them, which is a lucid dream. And it was so that you could confront your nightmares, phobias, whatever, get over stuff. But over time, he became addicted to it. He started acting out his fantasies in his dreams. Became more violent in his dreams. Like once he realized it's a moralless atmosphere, like he can do whatever he wants without consequence. Which is kind of terrifying, which is why I like the story so much. It really became horrific, and it started spilling over into real life because he started losing touch between dream and reality. Anyway, we shot that movie. Pretty big crew. It was the Student Film Association, their big fall project, on 16mm film. We had professional actors. I was casting director on that, as well as writer. And we went through a few revisions, and in the end, the director, my friend James, did an exceptional job and realized it beyond my expectations as far as the experience of the crew and what actors we had available to us. He just pieced together a really good thing for what it is. So I'm hoping to do more stuff like that. That's a lot of fun. That's such an experience, and it's a great learning opportunity to work with a director and actors along revisions. And so you see, like, there's so many mistakes that I made when I was writing that I didn't see until after the movie was produced, because the way that things become interpreted on the screen are vastly different than what you'd expect. Lines that sounded good to me are delivered differently by actors, and so you have to learn how to change those lines so that they're so that the meaning of them and the feeling of them comes across universally and can't really be read wrong. That's really the writer's job, and to an extent the director's job, is just to make sure that everything gets interpreted correctly, because one bad line and you're screwed. So that's kind of what I want to go into. Video games primarily. Like, I really want to get a job working for Bethesda or BioWare. Those MMO companies, like role-playing games and stuff, because they have tons of staff just dedicated to writing. These are people who are paid to write, and outside of like storyboard teams for like big movie companies like Disney or somewhere, that like a paid writing job like that just doesn't exist outside of journalism. So it's fun. But that's not to say anything about movies these days, which suck most of the time. There are a few good ones, which I'm very pleased about. Lately, they've been getting more story-based, which I'm happy about. Moving away from that, we were studying something in our film class. So I was looking at avant-garde film, the experimental film, especially in the 40s. And a big part of that movement was the idea that a work of art is never finished. It's only abandoned, which I really like. And I think the quote is actually attributed to Da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci. I think he's the one who came up with that, and they just sort of adopted that as their motto. But that's cool. That's such a cool idea. Because I think you've asked any writer, they're never happy with their finished product. They'll just keep revising and revising and revising, and I think even after short stories get published, they go back to that character and they revise them, saying, "Well, man, I wish I'd done this differently." And given the chance, I'm sure an artist would never ever release anything. He'd just keep revising it, and so. Yeah, nothing's ever completed. You just gotta let it go. Just abandon the project and try and get it out there at some point, or don't get it out there. In my case, I want to get it out there. I'm sort of doing everything I can to get my stuff out there. I have about a bazillion rejection letters right now, and I'm going to keep getting more until my house is filled with them, and I can't move around anywhere, and I get trapped in like a pile of rejection letters that crashes down on me, and I'll starve to death. So either that will happen, or I will get published, and hopefully things will be easier from there. So this is a life and death situation. Let's be honest.